Welcome to the Rent-Free MMA podcast, the only podcast that's living in your head rent-free. Today, we are going to be breaking down UFC Fight Night Raleigh, North Carolina. Shout out to J. Cole. My name is Johnny, a.k.a. the MMA Scouter, a.k.a. Rebel Lion on Sherdog. My co-host today is Sherdog Betting Forum's very own Lemon Zest. How you doing, bro?
Yo, hey, man. Good. Yo, what's up?
Good. The fans have been asking me to get you on, man.
Right on, dude.
This is the first episode, so I don't really got no fans yet, but hopefully people who hear this go ahead and share this with everybody. Okay, I know you MMA fans can't get enough of this, so here comes another MMA betting podcast. So here on this podcast, what we do here is we break down the fights from the prelims all the way up to the main event, and along the way we break down the odds from a betting perspective. So up next we have UFC Fight Night Raleigh, featuring Junior Dos Santos versus Curtis Blaydes. What are your thoughts on this card, man?
Yeah, well, like for the Blaydes fight?
Yeah, just thoughts on this card overall.
Oh, overall? Yeah, it's a decent card. It's a decent card. Like, I always like seeing guys like RDA fight, Anjos, JDS. So, yeah, no, it's a decent card.
Which fights are you most excited to see as a fan?
Oh, I'm always for sure the main event. I want to see this fight, and I want to see the RDA Chiesa fight. So yeah, probably the co-main and the main are decent fights.
It's always good to see some heavyweight fighters. There's a couple guys on here that I like. It's one of those cards that you got a couple fighters that you like, but nobody else likes. Unless you're like a hardcore MMA fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Are there any bets that you see on here that you're kind of leaning on? Any favorite bets on here?
Yeah, I was just watching I was watching some tape on the undercard. Yeah, I've got some solid leans there, I feel like.
Okay. You don't want to say it yet? Okay, no worries.
Yeah, you want to go through the fights? But I don't do it.
Well, mine is going to be Alex Perez and RDA. So those are going to be my two picks, my two-man parlay for this card. Yep. Do you see any props that you want to snipe on this card?
Not yet. There's no major. I'll probably just stick with money lines, just less risk. For sure. I do think Angela Hill's going to win the decision. That's if I was going to hit a prop, that's one prop that I think we'll probably hit.
Those who know me know that I don't like WMMA fights. I'll express that. I mean, I love the idea that women train martial arts. I hate the idea that they're mixed in with like top premier fighters. So you'll hear that from me. So yeah, a couple props that I like. I do think RDA is going to finish, and I do see Blaydes and Dos Santos possibly going a little bit longer, but we'll see. So let's break down this card from the bottom all the way up to the top. First fight of the night is going to be Herbert Burns versus Nate. I don't know how to say his last name.
I think it's Landwehr. Yeah, Landwehr. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so Nate Landwehr is -120. The comeback on Herbert Burns is +100. From what I do know, they're both making their debut here. I'm not really sure too much about these guys just because they're new. I know Herbert Burns is the brother of Gilbert Burns. He pretty similar to Gilbert Burns. Decent Muay Thai, really good jiu-jitsu, but there's a lack of blending in between. That's kind of holding both of them back. But Herbert Burns is very slick. I've seen a couple of slick highlights of him. He's really good arm bars, just like his brother. Nate Landwehr, man, this guy is he looks like an interesting character. He definitely interesting character for sure. He's a bit of a brawler. I would fancy him a little bit about the style of John Lineker. He just swings for the fences and hopes he wins the war of attrition.
Yeah, for sure.
The odds are even. I have no idea who's gonna win this fight, to be honest. And I don't think anybody could really predict this set down to a T. But it's an even fight. I don't know who to pick for this one. What are your thoughts?
Well, I watched tape on both these guys, and I pretty heavily favored Landwehr because just what I'm seeing from Burns is he's kind of that BJJ guy who's content to pull guard and he's a true jiu-jitsu guy. From just watching tape, what I saw, he wants to be on the ground. He wants to be trying for subs. but he doesn't have the offensive wrestling. He's kind of like that guy that pulls guard, you know.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
think, and Landwehr is like, yeah, like you said, like he's a Lineker. He's just a fucking brawler. Like he wants to be in the pocket, and he's throwing uppercuts. I mean, he just wants to be in the pocket and swing. But he has more of like a killer instinct, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think he's just going to get in the pocket and want to bang. So I'm not really quite sure how Burns wins this fight, because his stand up is just like Burns is kind of more like jab, jab, and then hope it goes to the ground. So yeah, I would favor Landwehr.
Okay. No. The only thing I could see Burns winning. I mean, if I were to pick, I would pick Nate Landwehr as well, just because of just how savage he is. The only thing though, I could see Burns like slapping on like a really slick jiu-jitsu, like armbar or something like that, just because like Nate, he's not very technical. He's just like he's just a brawler out there. So if he follows him to the ground, falls into his guard, or just being careless like he normally is, because Nate he's easy to hit as well. So
Oh
I
yeah, for
can see
sure.
them finishing each other. I could also see it going over 2.5 as well. So yeah. So all right, next up on the card, yeah, Brett Johns versus Tony Gravely. Tony Gravely is the favorite here at -115. Now they're even. And to come back on Brett Johns is -110. Oh, 105 here. Let's see here. Tony Gravely making his debut. The little that I know about him, he looks like a wrestle boxer, a little rudimentary on the feet. He looks super duper strong though. I don't know how this guy makes 135 here. Yeah, this guy looks really strong. He's like a little tank. Wrestling is top notch. His control, I don't know about his control. It looks okay on that. His jiu-jitsu defense not so great. He has like 4 submission losses on the record. And his striking, it looks like he just hooks through his punches. He doesn't look like he's a very savvy striker. He doesn't really have much technique. He kind of hooks and muscles through everything, you know.
Yeah.
And but he looks very strong. So not really sure how he matches up with Brett Johns. Brett Johns is he's from Wales. He blends. He's actually a little more skilled. They both have kind of a similar style. They're both wrestle boxers. Brett Johns, he's a little more smoother. He's got really good counters. His boxing is a lot better. He doesn't have much power compared to Tony, but he's a little more smoother. He blends his wrestling with his striking a little bit better. So it was kind of like a mirror match here. And the odds kind of show that the odds are even. As far as the pick goes, I don't have a pick, but I do think this fight goes over 2.5. I don't know who's gonna win this though. What are your thoughts on this?
I see it very much the same way. Like Gravely is like this super strong dude who's just like the physicality, like his legs are like trees, right? So, and then, but like I agree, Brett Johns is actually a better martial artist. Like he's showing way slicker moves. He has like one of the only calf slicer subs.
Yeah, that calf slicer was slick.
Yeah, so he's a very slick jiu-jitsu guy and a boxer. But then just the pure physicality, like I could see Gravely just being on top all 3 rounds just because he's fucking strong. So yeah, I kind of feel like Gravely.
I mean, I could see Gravely getting Johns on his back. I don't know if he's gonna hold him down though. To be honest, I think Johns has the better. He's a more experienced. He's just I mean, he's got more UFC experience, and I think his jiu-jitsu is a little bit better. I don't know if he's gonna hold him down. So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's the superior athlete versus the superior mixed martial artist.
Yeah, exactly. So close fight. Next fight on the card, we have Lena Landsberg versus Sarah McMann. Like I said, I'm not a fan of women fights. I think betting on a women's fight is a second-tier bet. I'm gonna keep telling you that. That's my betting philosophy. Whoever wants to oppose that, I don't care. Whatever it is. Sarah McMann is a wrestler. She gives up. She tends to she's a good hammer, but not a great nail. You've seen her get finished. Lena Landsberg is a clinch fighter. She throws elbows in the clinch, presses you against the fence. She's kind of durable, kind of not. I'm not sure. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like I was watching tape on this, and Lena Landsberg has one element to her game. It's clinch, push you against the fence, throw knees. That's it. Like that's all her game is. She doesn't have boxing. She does nothing else. It's like clinch, up against the fence, throw knees. So it's like to me, the way Sarah McMann is built, I don't see her like getting stuck there. Like she's an Olympic wrestler. Like she's I think she's super strong. Her center of gravity is low. Like she's gonna explode out. I just can't see like this fight comes down to whether or not Lena Landsberg can hold her against the fence. If she can, then Lena Landsberg will cruise to a decision. But I just don't see that happening. Like McMahon's way too strong. And
I mean, I read but she's 40 years old though, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Both of these women are pretty old.
Yeah, exactly.
So man, that's even more of a variable. I have no idea who's gonna win this. From what I heard, I think Sarah McMann is coming off of a pregnancy as well.
Yeah.
So you know, there's so many variables. Who the heck can predict this? Oh, I forgot to tell you the odds. McMann is negative 155 to come back on Landwehr is plus 135. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I would definitely. I'm going to place a bet on McMann here because I like her. Even at minus 150, I think the price I saw was minus 150 on McMann, and I think that's about right. But I think she's going to win.
All right, man.
I don't know how Lansberg's going to win the fight.
Well, good luck on that, man. Yeah, we're gonna blaze 3 picks. Your boy's sitting in LA right now, so we're gonna blaze 3 picks here. We have the biggest odds on the card, the biggest favorite here. We got Montel Jackson versus Felipe Colares. Montel Jackson being a negative 650 favorite to come back on Colares is plus 475. Montel Jackson coming out of Milwaukee. He's a Muay Thai southpaw fighter. Great. This guy's got gloves the size of Ngannou's, and he's only 135 pounds, which is ridiculous. Pretty good prospect, young guy. Decent wrestling, decent defensive wrestling. Really good boxing. Good elbows. This guy's he's a freak. He's a freak for his a freak of nature for his weight class. He's fighting Felipe Colares, who's a jungle fight champion, dude from Brazil. Didn't have a great debut. Got out wrestled and outgassed. In his sophomore fight, he looked a lot better. Same for Montel. He lost his debut fight as well. Got out wrestled, gassed a little bit. Both looked better in their second fights. Colares, the only way he can win this, if he takes this to the ground and just rinse and repeat. I think he's like a judo black belt or something like that. He's got some decent jiu-jitsu. No bet, obviously, just because he's such a big. Montel's just a big favorite. I could possibly see this going 3 rounds, just because Felipe, he's coming from a poor background. I'm sure he's motivated. He's not gonna just sit there and give up. So I could see this going over 2.5. Not a bet for me, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the chance could be because Felipe is obviously like a jiu-jitsu guy, Colares. So he's going to be probably wanting the sub. So I just don't know how good Jackson's like sub defense game is and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean Jackson beat Kelleher and Sutenkamp. So those are both legit dudes. So right. It's a tough fight to call, but yeah, probably the line's probably right with Jackson a bit of a favorite.
Right. Huge line. Okay, well, all right, next fight. Justine Kish versus Lucy Pudilova. Justine Kish is negative plus 145, and they come back on Pudilova is negative 165. Pudilova is the boxer from Czech Republic. She's really tall for her division. She's got a good jab. She moves laterally. That's pretty cool. Decent boxing, but she's single dimension. That's all she does is box. She barely throws any kicks. But she's really tall, and yeah, her boxing doesn't look too bad. I'll give her that. Justine Kish is a Muay Thai fighter. She throws all of her 8 points, her elbows, knees, and hands and her feet. She throws a lot of pitter patter though. She doesn't seem to have much power. But she's got the she definitely throws a little more variety compared to Pudilova. This fight, another toss up. However, Justine Kish is the dog. Maybe you want to throw something on that. I don't know who's going to win this fight. It's really dependent on what the judges see. Justine Kish is, maybe Kish beats her in the clinch. I don't know. I've seen her throw some pretty nice standing elbows and stuff. But regardless of whether she's more skilled than her opponent, the judges tend to just throw both of these fighters in a split decision. So I wouldn't even recommend a bet on either one of them. Technically, plus 145. If you're gonna do a coin flip and you're gonna get a plus 145, you probably want to take that. However, I do see this fight going over 2.5. It's kind of juice. Maybe you want to parlay that with somebody plus 325. Maybe, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, this is going to be a super close fight. It's just two like middle of the pack girl fighters. They're just going to go in there and make it messy, and it's going to be a close decision.
Yeah, there's some value on Kish. I mean, she's plus 145 when the odds should really be 110 apiece, right?
Yeah, if I was going to bet it, I would just take whoever was the dog for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next fight in the card, we have Arnold Allen versus Nick Lentz. This is being held at 145, so it looks like Nick Lentz is going down in weight from 155.
Okay.
Arnold Allen, negative 260. The comeback on Nick Lentz is plus 220. Damn, the odds are pretty wide. Nick Lentz is not bad. I mean, it really depends on the weight cut. I don't know. Arnold Allen is he's from England, fighting out of a TriStar. Really solid really solid southpaw. Really great left hand. He's super strong. He looks like he has a lot of strength, and he's got that really lock jaw. I mean, he's got a really, really good front head choke that he's gotten a couple of people with. Like he's even gotten some black belts with it. He caught Matt Burnell in a scramble, caught his neck, and this guy's got a powerful guillotine. Your typical TriStar striker, really patient, doesn't always go for the finish. Nick Lentz is your typical gritty grinder. Nick Lentz, fighting out of Hard Knocks 360, so his striking is underrated. It's not too bad, but he's not great defensively. He's a grinder. I mean, I see Arnold Allen winning this. However, I mean, I've seen Arnold Allen on his back before against Mirkani, which I was yelling at the TV screen because I had my money on him. Like, dude, get the fuck up. Like, yeah, and yeah, he pissed me off. So, I do think he'll win this fight just because Nick Lentz, I don't know how his weight cut is going to go. Also, he's getting a little up there in age. His wear and tear is getting in there. And Arnold Allen's pretty young, so I can see him, improving from fight to fight. The odds are a little too wide for me, but I'm picking Arnold Allen here. I think he's going to go over 2.5. And yeah, that's it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's like Arnold Allen's super young, super confident. Like he wants it so bad. You could tell in every one of his fights. And yeah, he's just a younger, more, probably faster, better cardio, better everything. Nick Lentz is good, but he's like 9 years older. That's a big deal.
But he is a better wrestler, though. You never know. You might be able to squeak out a little split decision or something. But
for sure.
Yeah, but you still my pick still stand.
Yeah, I agree. I think Allen's gonna win. I mean, but it's Lentz is not a bad bet if you can get like good dog odds on him. He's not that bad of a bet.
Right. What do you think? You think Arnold Allen's gonna win by decision?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, more likely than that.
That would be my pick.
Okay. Well, then we have the ESPN prelims headliner on ESPN Plus. We have Bevon Lewis versus Daquan Townsend, aka dude looks like 2 Chainz over here. True.
He does look like 2 Chainz, bro.
That's fun. True. Okay, so huge odds, second highest odds on here. Bevon Lewis is negative 440. The comeback on Daquan, plus 350. Pretty big odds, especially for a young guy like Bevon Lewis. I do expect him to win here. Bevon Lewis is the training partner of John Jones. You can kind of tell he fights kind of like John Jones because he likes to fight in the clinch.
Okay.
He does those Jackson Wink oblique kicks.
Yeah, I know exactly. I got you.
He's got a solid overhand right. He fights in the clinch. He throws elbows. He throws knees. His style looks good. I don't know why he keeps losing, but he was beating Uriah Hall those first 2 rounds, and in the 3rd round he just got caught with that spinning. Or I forgot what he got caught with, but yeah, he got caught. He's still young. I do expect him to roll here. Daquan, I've only seen one fight of his, which was his debut against that African booty scratcher. I forget his name. Whatever that dude's name was, some big buff African dude.
Okay.
Daquan looks like a tall dude. I mean, I'm just gonna call him 2 Chainz here. He looks like he has a decent jab though. He didn't look too bad in that fight. He has a decent jab. On his record, he hasn't. That was actually his first knockout loss on his record against that African booty scratcher. Regional. His style is kind of regional. You know, he looks like he's been toiling on the regional scene, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like where his style really belongs. I do expect Bevon to win here, but negative 440 is a little too much. Maybe I might take a stab on Bevon by decision. I don't know, but I mean, just judging from the style, like just I remember seeing in my head. I know Daquan likes to pump out that jab, and when Bevon Lewis was fighting Uriah Hall, Hall was pumping out a lot of those jabs as well, and Hall has a lightning fast jab, and I seen Bevon trying to set up the slip to the left and throwing an overhand right over that jab, and he actually caught Uriah a couple of times, but shit, this goddamn helicopter right over my head. Yeah, I see him. I'm in Los Angeles right now. That's why. I seen Bevon trying to catch him with that overhand right, and he almost caught Uriah a couple of times. But you know, Uriah being a solid striker and a very savvy striker, he caught him. You know, he didn't fall for it. So, yeah, man, Bevon. It looks like he comes from a good camp. I do expect him to roll here. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I don't really know these guys that well, but you know, just looking at Bevon, he looks physically like a beast, and he's training at Jackson Wink, so it's like, yeah, I mean that alone, like looking at it physically and where he's training, yeah, that's a strong start for him.
Okay, cool. So let's move on. And then let's move on to the main card of the main card here. Jamal Hill versus Darko Stosic. You have Jamal Hill at negative 125. The comeback on Stosic is plus 105. Jamal Hill comes from the Dana White Tuesday night bum fights.
The bum fights, huh?
I'm just kidding. No, you know what? There's some good fighters that came out of there. I'm just kidding. I like to call it that sometimes. Jamal Hill, I mean, I saw him fight once. He doesn't look that great, to be honest. I don't think he's ready for the big leagues, but dude, I mean, we're talking about 205 here. 205. Usually, when it comes to 185 pounds and up in the UFC, anybody can kind of make it. They're not really that deep, so I guess they really needed him. But he's a tall dude. Looks decent, decently athletic. He's like 6'4". Really, really long reach. He's a southpaw. Defensively, he doesn't look that great. He has his hands down sometimes. But you know, I mean, judging by his length, that's probably why, because he's like much taller and longer than most people he fights. I don't see him being too good in the UFC, but maybe, you know, maybe some if he just toils around in the bottom half of the division, maybe he might be able to develop some skills. I don't know. But that's really not much I can say about him. I mean, I guess he's a striker here. His ground game isn't too good either, so this guy's a little too green for me. So
yeah.
Darko Stosic, he is the training partner of Mirko Prokop. He is also a Hulk. It's hard for me to kind of figure him out as well. He looks like a decent fighter, but he just he hooks his way through the fight, and he's got decent wrestling. He's got a decent overhand right. I mean, just him training with Prokop, I'm sure he knows how to fight against southpaws. So how this fight plays out, I think I could see Darko landing takedowns. I could see him chopping away at Jamal Hill's legs. And that's how I think he's going to win the fight. I think Darko's going to win this fight. I'm picking him just because Jamal Hill's too green. But Darko, man, here's a prop that I might actually fuck with. Darko by decision. I mean, I can see him knocking him out too, but I'm going to take the decision line just because it's a little juicy. Plus 420. So, yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think Darko wins, but I don't know if it's by decision or
yeah. I mean, they're big boys.
Yeah. The only thing, like, typically, like, Darko, if it's a competitive fight, he's such a big dude that he gasses out. But, like this Jamal Hill guy's, like, he's not good. Like you said, he's super green. So, I don't know. Yeah, like, he doesn't really look like a pro MMA fighter. So, yeah, I think Darko's going to...
Darko's issue is that he gasses out. So, you mean I don't trust his gas tank. So it's definitely not a great bet. But you know, I'm only taking that decision line just because of the value. You know.
Yeah.
So I can see that happening. I do see him landing the inside leg kick. I do see him getting takedowns when he needs to if Jamal Hill starts to pressure him. The only thing I don't trust about Darko is that he doesn't have a good gas tank. So yeah, it's not a safe bet, but I like the number on it. So yeah. All right, moving on. So we have Angela Hill versus Hannah Cifers. Angela Hill is negative 185. The comeback on Cifers is plus 160. Angela Hill, Muay Thai fighter, light on her feet, throws some variety. Cifers, single dimension. She just throws right hands, and that's about it. I'm gonna let you take this one away.
Yeah, I mean, Angela Hill's actually like she's evolving and she's become pretty good. I like how she boxes. Like she moves around good. She's throwing some punches. She's like you said, light on her feet. She moves around really well. So I actually like her. Like I like her to win here. I think she'll just run away with it with the boxing.
Yeah, I can see her winning too. Just because Cifers, she has one move, which is throwing her right hand, and that's about it. Like I think I expect Hill to win here, but it's really untrustworthy fighter.
Yeah.
So especially at 2-1 odds, I don't really trust it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive. The price is not right.
Yep. Okay, so now we're getting a little closer to the main event. We have Alex Perez versus Jordan Espinosa. Alex Perez at a negative 255. They come back on Espinosa plus 225. Odds have gotten pretty wide on this. I really like the opener at negative 215. I was hoping it'll stick, but I guess people wanted to hammer it, or maybe it was me that changed the line. I don't know. I did drop a big bet on Alex Perez, as well as the next fight, Dos Anjos. Like I said, he's part of my two-man parlay, including Dos Anjos. Perez, coming from the Dana White Tuesday night, whatever, as well as Espinosa. Perez is the beast. I really, really, really like his style. He really, really impressed me. He's really good striker, really, really good wrestler, and a really good submission fighter. He's a pressure fighter. He throws feints. He's got a great jab. He's got a great left hook. He's a willing brawler. He's very patient. Like this guy's got it all, man. Like he really disappointed me against Joseph Benavidez in that fight. I'm not really sure why he underperformed there, but I mean, I listened to one of his interviews. He said he got headbutted in that fight, and then he got hit in the back of the head. So that was a weird fight overall.
Okay.
But I expect him to bounce back. And dude got a really ridiculous guillotine choke, a really good like darts choke, great front headlock chokes. This guy's got great single legs. He changed his wrestling. I can't really say much. Like I can't say enough about this guy. I think he's really a dark horse here. Yeah, he goes for single legs. He can switch to the double leg. This guy's got it all, man. I expect him, and he's got really good calf kicks as well. So I know Espinosa, he is a mover. This guy is very light on his feet. He's very fast. But he's got some power on himself too, and he's got some good jiu-jitsu. So Espinosa, he's not a bad fighter. I just don't like his style, just because, especially not in this matchup either, just because Espinosa, he's gonna be moving around a lot, and when he does try to move laterally, I expect Perez to chop his legs down at range, which is gonna force Espinosa to come in and dart in, just because he's gonna be losing at range. I don't see Espinosa winning at range, so he's gonna be forced to get into the pocket or close the distance against Perez, and that's where Perez is just gonna clip this dude somewhere, some way. I don't know. I know Espinosa doesn't really like. He kind of gets his chin up sometimes too. So I see Alex Perez clipping him somewhere and finishing the fight. I don't know, maybe by club and sub, or maybe it might be a knockout on the feet due to a barrage of punches or something. But that's how I kind of see it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Alex Perez definitely wins, and the line reflects that. Like you say, Espinosa moves around a lot. Like he's good at moving his feet, but he's not. Like sometimes he blocks punches with his face. Like so he doesn't always, So he's good at moving around with his feet, but I don't know how slick his boxing is and his defense is. Like it seems like he gets clipped pretty easily.
Fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's just fast. Like but he's fighting a bunch of like slow pokes. He's fighting a bunch of like people who just don't know what they're doing, and I think Alex Perez just. His skills are just his skills are top notch. I really, really like this guy.
Yeah, I agree. I think
the way he thinks.
a lot better. Jordan Espinosa is like too loose. Like his like Alex Perez has that tight Muay Thai, like tight guard. Everything's tight. Espinosa is the opposite. Like everything's loose, flying all over the place. So yeah, I think Perez is gonna just beat him up here.
Yeah. Cool. So I can see Espinosa getting wins in the division just because of his style. It's so annoying. He's like in and out, in and out, in and out.
Yeah.
He can be a very frustrating fighter for a fighter to fight him. But yeah, Perez is just way too skilled to let that happen. I think Perez's leg kick or his calf kicks are just gonna stop him at his tracks. So
yeah.
All right, next fight we have the co-main event. We have Michael Chiesa versus Rafael dos Anjos. Dos Anjos is negative 260 to come back on Michael Chiesa. It's plus 220. Dos Anjos all the way here. I mean, do I even need to break down? These guys are. I'm sure the audience kind of knows who Dos Anjos is. Great Muay Thai fighter. Great southpaw. Great. They're both southpaws. Great wrestling. He's got a solid chin. He's a pressure fighter. He's got a lot of decision on his record, but I feel like he's gonna finish Chiesa here. Chiesa is moving up in welterweight. Both of them are former lightweights here. Chiesa, his takedowns aren't great, but what makes him really great was that he was so much bigger than everybody at lightweight, and so he cut a ton of weight. His takedowns from the clinch is what gets everybody, and he's able to just out-muscle and outsize everybody and get to their back, and he has a lot of leverage in order to get those rear naked chokes that he's really good at. But dude has two left feet when it comes to striking. This guy is fucking like, he'll never. This guy's got no fundamental striking skills. I don't trust him. He gets hit a lot, and how I see this fight happening is Dos Anjos is a pressure fighter. Chiesa is a pressure fighter. Who's gonna give? Well, Dos Anjos is the better striker. He's a great wrestler, and he's a good jiu-jitsu fighter. So I can see Chiesa like just moving, trucking forward, and really like making this a war of attrition, just like he always does. Because he always loses the first round of most fights, and then he comes back and gets the rear naked choke on somebody, you know?
Yeah.
But I see as soon as he starts taking a step back, I see Dos Anjos doing that Robbie Lawler combo on him, getting him against the fence and just pulling it on him, chopping that inside leg. I mean, Dos Anjos was chopping Leon Edwards' legs out in that first round. He was chopping his legs out. I see that happening here in this fight. I don't see Chiesa, even if he does take Dos Anjos down, I don't see him holding him down. And I don't see him choking him out, obviously, either. So what the hell is Chiesa going to do? He can maybe win by decision I see people talking about how big he is and the fact that he's cutting less weight. He probably has better gas tank maybe. But like there's still such a skill disparity. Like Chiesa he doesn't have any striking skills. He's a rookie. I think that Dos Anjos is going to finish him there. As soon as Chiesa takes a back step, I don't know what's going to be by submission or TKO, but it's going to be one of those. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think RDA is just so tough, and he's so good everywhere that it's, like I think Chiesa is kind of one of those guys. He wants to get in scrambles and find a sub. Like, he's kind of that middle of the pack fighter that he capitalizes off of people's mistakes, right? Or just wearing them out, right? Like the war of attrition. But like RDA is too good for all that. So,
yep.
Yeah, I think RDA is just better everywhere.
Yeah, and you know what? Chiesa's loss to Perez looks even worse because Perez is on a terrible losing streak. He was beating. I mean, he was getting Perez down, and then in that second round, it looked like he got hit by Perez and he starts smiling. So he gets back up and he throws some goofy ass. He threw a left kick from southpaw, and then he picked up his right foot and threw a front kick. I don't know who the fuck taught him that, but it's like what is that? I don't even know what that is. Like that's like who? I don't know what martial arts school teaches that, but I wouldn't even call that Muay Thai or something. I don't know. And then Perez drops him with that overhand right, and then takes him down, falls into an armbar, and then that's it. Like this guy, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully more people will take Chiesa so I can get better odds on RDA. So
yeah, and I'm just watching a bit of tape here too. Kevin Lee subbing him in the first round, rear naked choking him in the first round. So I think Chiesa's a bit of a go for broke type guy, and then if it doesn't go his way, then when he's getting his ass kicked, then he kind of can crumble. So yeah, I think RDA is going to wear him down.
Yeah. Chiesa has that Homer Simpson style as well. Like he waits for people to beat him up, gets tired, and he goes after their back and gets the rear naked choke. But Dos Anjos has really good gas tank. I don't expect him to I expect him. Yeah, I don't expect him to get weaker as the fight goes on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I expect a good performance, and Dos Anjos has proven that he knows how to fight against Southpaws. Against Colby Covington, that fight was a lot closer than than the unanimous decision shows. So
Yeah.
he was landing a bunch of body shots. Chiesa does that high guard that he does. I expect Dos Anjos to land to the body at some point, go high, go low, go high, chop the legs. Like, yeah, he's gonna roll here. I'm super confident of this, and this is gonna be my two-man parlay: Dos Anjos and Alex Perez. I think it pays. Let's see here. How much does this pay? A 110 right now. I mean, it's not that pretty, but I like it.
Yeah.
And if you're feeling real lucky, I would parlay both of them by finish. But that's just me. Anyways, so coming down to the main event, we have Curtis Blaydes versus Junior Dos Santos. Curtis Blaydes is negative 250, and the comeback on Junior Dos Santos is plus 210. Dos Santos, the former champion, this guy has taken so much damage. I don't know if this guy's gonna have his full brain by the time he retires. But I like Dos Santos a lot, man. I like his personality. He's always happy. He's always smiling. He's got a great energy, great vibe. I like him as a person. I wish the best for him. But you know what? I was gonna say I don't see him winning here, but low key, maybe he. I mean, it's a heavyweight fight, and there's there's a couple of factors going in here. So just to kind of break down who they are, Dos Santos, great overhand right. Sometimes it gets him in trouble. Great jab, one of the best jabs at heavyweight. He moves really well. He's really, really hard to take down. He's got kicks in his arsenal. This guy's got a chin for days. Although it's kind of deteriorating a little bit, but it is heavyweight. Supposed black belt, I don't know. I've never seen him use it, but it's there apparently. Curtis Blaydes, developing fighter, heavyweight in his 20s. Great wrestling. He's got brutal ground and pound, brutal elbows. He's still developing. He's got a great chin himself, and he has a pretty good gas tank on him. For a heavyweight though, Curtis, I mean, he's got some decent striking in there. It's kind of robotic in there, but it serves his purpose. He strikes with you, closes the distance, gets the clinch, and gets the rear waist lock, takes you down, whatever it is, However, most of Junior Dos Santos' most recent losses is that he's getting knocked out on the feet by heavy, big punchers. But Curtis Blaydes isn't that guy. So, and not only that, the reason why Dos Santos gets hit so much by wrestlers is that he's got a really decent head movement, and he puts his hands down in order to kind of grab the underhooks. He's good at grabbing those, and a lot of wrestlers are not able to take him down, and that's why his takedown defense is pretty decent. But because he puts his hands down, and he's really reliant on moving his head and things like that, he gets hit a lot. And also the reason why he's always getting his back against the fence is because of that reason. Him having his back against the fence is part of his takedown defense. It's for him to have leverage on and also to grab underhooks, but he gets beat up on the goddamn fence all the damn time.
That's true, dude. He does end up on the fence a lot.
Yeah, but I think that's the nature of his fighting style. Is again, it's the reason why is because he doesn't get taken down a lot. There's a trade-off here.
That's interesting. Yeah, I never thought about that. That's true.
Yeah, it's because he's immediately grabbing underhooks, and not only that, when people are trying to take him down, he's got that fence to kind of lean on in order to hold him back.
Yeah.
But the trade-off is that he puts his head back against the fence and he gets beat up in the clinch.
Yeah, that's interesting, man.
So, I mean, the odds are a little wide just because it's a heavyweight fight. Anything can happen. This is a 5-round fight, man. This is a long time for Curtis Blaydes to be trying to get this fight to the ground. Unless Curtis finishes him with via ground and pound, which is, you don't even know whether or not he can get Junior Dos Santos down in the early rounds unless he kind of rocks him first. So I can see Junior upsetting this at a plus 210 underdog. However, I'm going to just pick Curtis Blaydes due to being younger, and we've seen Dos Santos lose a certain type of fight as well. If Curtis Blaydes can, clinch him up, dirty him up there, and hopefully get that rear waist lock, get him to the ground, and just kind of beat him up, I can see him winning. I also have a really big underdog pick on this one here, and it's not Dos Santos, but actually I'm going to take this fight to go over 2.5, but I'm going to throw a little bit of change on the fight going to a decision, which is plus 320. I know it's a heavyweight fight. I just have a weird hunch about it. I know Curtis Blaydes has a great chin. He's got great cardio. Dos Santos has great chin. He has great cardio as well. I can see this going all 5 rounds. I'm going to fucking run with it. I got a really monster parlay that includes 4 fighters. I'm not going to pop off like that yet. Maybe I could. I don't know. Maybe I get a couple more listeners or something. I might just release that. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, yeah, I want JDS to win. You know, like obviously if it stays on the feet, JDS has better boxing. But the problem is the whole time he's boxing, he's like trying to not get taken down by Curtis Blaydes. So that's the story of the fight, you know. And I was watching Blaydes fight Overeem, and it's, you know, Overeem and JDS probably, you know, similar caliber fighters. And yeah, Overeem's looking good, but eventually he ends up on his back for a lot of the fight and ultimately gets finished in the 3rd round. So it's going to be tough for JDS to stay standing like all 5 rounds. So yeah, I mean, he's going to piece him up on the feet, but then it's, you know, maybe you land a 1-2 and now you're on your back. So it's a tough. I think it's a tough fight for JDS to win.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him lose against this type of fighter before.
Yeah.
But again, the only thing I'm just saying is that, you know, we haven't seen Curtis Blaydes knock anybody out on the feet yet. It's usually due to ground and pound, and we've seen Dos Santos get knocked on the feet. But again, like Curtis Blaydes doesn't have that much power, so I don't know if you know. And again, Dos Santos apparently is a black belt, so there's that, you know.
He's apparently what?
A black belt as well.
Oh yeah.
Dos Santos.
That's the thing. If they can clinch up, and JDS just pushes them off, if that happens in the 1st round, I'll be live betting JDS all day.
Yeah. And we've seen Dos Santos, you know, pick apart his opponent. Like he'll jab, he'll move, he'll jab, he'll move, he'll throw some good front kicks, and he's a fleet of foot heavyweight as well. So
his boxing is tight. When he gets his momentum going, his boxing is tight.
Yeah. So here's another thing too. You know, I've seen Blaydes throw these really like kind of telegraph jabs, and I can see Dos Santos going over the top with the overhand right, which is what Francis has hit him with as well, overhand right over the jab. So you know there's that too. So
yeah.
So we complete the card here. So I have again my 2-man is going to be Perez and Dos Anjos. I'll that's my solid 2-man, and my monster parlay of the week is going to be Blaydes and Dos Santos going 5 rounds. Chiesa, Dos Anjos by finish, Perez by finish, and Darko Stosic by decision. You put those 2 together, $100 brings you 15 racks.
Right on.
Yeah. So if you're feeling lucky, drop a little something on that. So yeah, man, thanks for coming on my podcast. Thanks for being my guest. I'll hopefully whoever's listening, just share this with anybody. I'm sure you fans can't get enough of this shit. So all right, man.
Sounds good, bro. Thanks.
Yep.
You know what? I
Good luck, man.
forgot to mention there's actually a Bellator happening as well. And I actually have some pretty decent leans on that, so I actually wanted to add this in at the end. This is Bellator 238, headlined by Julia Budd versus Cyborg. I won't go over that fight, however. I will go out over a fight that I wanted to highlight, which is Adam Borics versus Darian Caldwell. Caldwell is the favorite at plus 125. The comeback on Borics is plus 105, and I'm actually leaning pretty heavily on... Well, I mean, I wouldn't say heavily, but I do see Borics winning this fight. Borics, I think, is the dark horse of the Bellator tournament, featherweight tournament. I see him giving Pitbull a lot of trouble. Caldwell is your typical wrestler. He doesn't really have much else in his repertoire, just other than wrestling. Even with the wrestling, he doesn't really do much with it. He doesn't do much ground and pound. All he does is hold you down, and I don't even think he's really that good at holding you down either. he's got some decent submissions in there. He's some power chokes, some really fast snatch single legs. I mean, he's athletic, but he's just a wrestler in MMA. So, in his fight against 120, in his fight against a 125er, Horiguchi, he took him down multiple times, but didn't really do much with it. Didn't land any ground and pound. He was getting hit on the bottom. He was getting hit on top. And he also seems to gas a lot as well. So, Borics is a beast. This guy's 14-0, trained out of Hard Knocks, extremely athletic, great striking. Just he's a beast striking. I don't know where to begin with this, but he's got great leg kicks, great power. He's got that great equalizer against wrestlers, which is his flying knee. He's really good at landing it. This guy's at plus 105. I think it's a really good bet. I'm going to add that to the list of bets along with my RDA and Alex Perez pick. Yeah, man, I feel like he's going to he might get taken out in that first round. I see him picking up in the second and third. He's going to hit Caldwell and get him to panic wrestle from really far away, and I see Borics shutting down takedowns once he gets Darren Caldwell's rhythm. Another fight I see the decent betting odds on is Juan Archuletta, negative 240, and Henry Corrales. Come back on him as plus 200. The odds are a little bit steep on Archuletta compared to Adam Borics. I'd rather play that, but I do see Archuletta beating Corrales just because he's a better wrestler. He can hang in the stand-up, and he's just more well-rounded. I see it going to decision, however. Corrales does have a great chin. He's a tough guy. I don't see him getting finished here, but I do see Archuletta winning a unanimous decision here. Yeah, and pretty comfortable. And I know this is kind of wiki capping. However, I do see lower on the card Raymond Daniels over versus Jason King. I don't know who Jason King is. Googled him a little bit, and I kind of looked up his Fight Finder. He's just a run-of-the-mill can. He looks like a can. He's probably just being brought in to get knocked out by Raymond Daniels, who's a pretty lethal kickboxer, and I don't see this being an MMA fight. I see Raymond Daniels landing something flashy and knocking this guy out. So, also on this card, Sergio Pettis versus Alfred Kasakian. I've never seen Kasakian fight before, but Pettis is negative 270. I see him beating him as well, but I'm not going to bet that just because I am not a fan of any of the Pettis brothers. And then, of course, you got Cyborg at negative 445 versus Julia Budd. Cyborg should roll here, but that's a big odds. Maybe I might throw a couple pennies on a little bit of chump change on the over. Who knows? I don't know. The over isn't out yet, but whenever that pops out, maybe I might throw a little bit on that. But yeah, Adam Borics, man, he's the future of Bellator, and keep your eye out on that kid. So I'm adding that to the list of bets this weekend. And good luck, everybody.